Good morning, everyone. How are you? It's been a minute. We're here on Unanswered, answering your questions that haven't been answered in real estate. And Jimmy Ray brought us a guest.
Yeah, it's Paul Muir from QAI Inspections. They are amazing, and we will talk to him about all things inspections, home inspections.
Absolutely. So if you have inspection questions, make sure you drop them below. We will get them answered as we go, or we will also reach out, and we always have follow-ups. So we always have something that we say the next one that was in the previous, so that's exciting. So how did the two of you meet? How did you choose QAI?
Well, I think, gosh, it's been several years ago, but the guy who started this thing, Jay.
Yeah, which
Tosh.
I know Jay and Tosh, Mm-hmm.
They reached out and said, listen, we're just calling agents and letting them know we do this and whatever. And how long have you guys been doing this?
They've been started the business in 2013.
Okay, yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I need a good inspector because I'll tell you honestly, a trustworthy, competent inspector that knows what they're doing and knows how to handle things is hard to find. And so I met with them, I used them, and I said, yes, absolutely. And the story behind this group is amazing. And that was an added bonus for me that they're all retired United States Navy divers. And they are so good at what they do and the attention to detail. But when it comes to explaining things to the client, which is the buyer after all, they understand the delicacy of a transaction, and it's an emotional time for a lot of people when they're buying a house.
Yeah.
So I've always appreciated the fact that they will tell you what you need to know. If there's dangerous stuff, they tell you that.
Yeah.
But if they don't make a mountain out of a molehill that can just be repaired and it's not a big deal, and like some inspectors do.
Yeah.
So that's how I met them. That's how I started using them. And religiously, if I have a buyer or client, these are the guys that do my home inspections because they are all that and a bag of chips.
And I will say to what you were talking about, having a home inspector who is very thorough and then knows how to explain it is really important. Now, for those of you that are selling your home and listing it, that inspection belongs to the buyers. I know you don't want to hear that, and I know you don't want to believe it, but that inspection belongs to the buyers because the buyers paid for it.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind when you're demanding things.
Yeah, I had an agent that had been doing this for many, many decades tell me when we pulled out of a certain deal that I had to send her the inspection and, with my termination paper. I said, no, that's not what it says.
Now, some states, we do have a lot of people from different states read your contract to say if you have to send it out. But again, that inspection belongs to the buyer. And I will tell you this. So a lot of you are not going to be happy with me that are realtors, so for me to tell you this. Whatever. I always ruffle some realtor feathers. It's always me. It's always me. And then I always get the rah, rah, rah. And I go, well, it's going to happen again. So, And I always say, listen, you got to put your big girl panties on. And if you don't want to do that, just don't wear any. I say it all the time, and I'm saying it live.
Love that.
I'll add on that in our agreement to our client, there's a spot for them to initial for their agent to receive that document. We do not give that to the agent unless the client signs and initials that agreement saying, yes,
you can share it with them.
You can share that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, though. If you are in a contract and it says for... I don't know. How do you guys write it in your contract now? Well, you just want information purposes only. Do you still put information? Information purposes only. I am here to tell you, for all of you new agents that may not know, and for all of you sellers that may not know, informational purposes only does not mean that they cannot come back and get out of the contract off of a home inspection or ask for things on a home inspection. It's just a nice way to say that they're probably not, maybe, possibly.
Right.
What a horrible thing to say, right? So if you see that as a seller and you see for informational purposes only, this is where agents are going to get mad at me. You need to question it, or you need to mark out and say that you literally need to put in there that they're not going to come back for any repairs, or they're not allowed to get out of the contract for the home inspection. You can write that in. Everything can be written in with within terms to be agreed upon in writing by all parties. But for informational purposes only is just a scam. It's a scam.
Yeah.
It's a scam. And I know you guys are going to say, oh, we're not trying to scam you. But for real, it's horrible for me to have to say it, but also it needs to be said.
Yeah, no, the more specific you can be in your contract writing, the better off you're going to be.
Absolutely.
That's just around across the board with any business. But also on the other side of that issue, if you're the buyer's agent and you put that language in your contract, yeah, you can't get out during the PICRA period. But if there's an HOA, you still have an exit.
Yes,
So
and there's other things too that you can totally get out for. There's the walkthrough and whatnot, and the appraisal, but that's just for the home inspection, and so you all need to know that.
So Paul, before we start
Yes.
grilling you,
With some burgers and hot dogs.
yeah, your history. Tell us your history.
So I retired Navy. I got into defense contract work for a while, and I was really bored. It was a cubicle, doing great work, but just not finding my thing. And so I went to a diver's breakfast one morning with Jay, and Jay's like, well, go get your license and come work with us. And that was 2016, 17.
Wow.
Oh, a few years after they started it, yeah.
So, and I grew up, my mom's an electrician, my dad's a carpenter. My dad did everything, and we did everything as a kid. 3 additions on our house, so I did the plumbing,
Wow.
the electrical, the roofing. So I had a good background, and I understood
Right.
it. So I went and got my license, and I hit it off the bat. My first year, 300 plus inspections, and that was 9 months in the first year.
And in Virginia, at
It's almost
least,
an inspection a day.
Yeah.
they have to be licensed and sanctioned by DPOR, which is our
Yes.
professional.
Which started in 2017.
Yeah.
Prior to that, anybody could be a home inspector.
Yeah.
And I've come across inspectors that how did you get your license again?
I have also, and I've also
mean-
come across agents like that.
Absolutely.
We've all come
They're
across
usually
somebody
the ones
in
with the inspectors like that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So there's always somebody in the industry that you're most familiar with that you come across going, I just don't understand how that person
Yeah.
made it through. I mean, even doctors, right? There's
Yeah, just because they're smart enough to pass the test doesn't necessarily make him a
Qualified.
good agent.
It doesn't make him
Qualified.
qualified,
'Cause
right?
It's a people business.
It is.
There's no test on the exams, either national or state,
Yeah.
that will test you for your relationship skills and people managing skills.
Yes.
And that's critical.
It is.
And then there's also, speaking of the military, so you can get in the military pretty much.
Yeah.
There's some limitations, but you can pretty
Right.
much get in the military right at
Right.
18.
Right.
But are you highly decorated, right? And you don't get that just by rubbing elbows.
Nope.
I mean, you've got to do the work. You've got to put in the work. And so it's the same way with our home inspectors and our agents. Yes, you can get a license, but are you highly decorated? And that decoration doesn't come into any type of stamp that is on your uniform, but
yeah.
it does come with a reputation, and that's the highly decorated.
Absolutely.
So if you have the great reputation, trust me, we all talk. And we're in, I'm going to say we're in a medium city. We're not like super large. We're definitely not
medium
royal. Yeah.
It's a medium
It's
market.
medium. But we all know who QAI is and that they're good. We all know who the home inspectors are. We know who isn't good and who we're going to avoid because of word of mouth, and that is the decoration.
Absolutely. So before we get more into this, tell us, I want to know what you find to be the most obvious every time you do a report. What's the thing that pops
Good
up
question.
for everybody?
Yeah.
I don't know, because we have such a wide variety of homes here in Hampton Roads, from the old houses in Ghent and Portsmouth, they have
Yeah.
basements, to the ranches in Chesapeake, to the condos on the beach. A lot of times, the newer stuff, there's not many issues. People start worrying now when we talk about, like you mentioned before, knob and tube wiring, aluminum wiring,
Yes.
polybutylene piping,
Yeah.
which we have a lot of suburbs here that still have that piping, and we can go into that more. But we find most of our inspections are everyday routine stuff that people are not doing the home ownership maintenance on. Keeping the gutters clean, which lead to moisture issues in the crawl
Right,
space.
right.
That's a good one.
Changing out the filters in HVAC system,
Yep.
which is shortening their lifespan.
That was going to be my guess. I was going to guess that your answer was going to be the crawl space is the spot that most issues happen in.
Yes.
Because that's out of sight, out of mind for most people.
And plus it's also the most important part of the inspection. It's your foundation.
Yeah,
Right.
and they just don't think there's a
Yeah.
maintenance set. Like a lot of you don't think there's maintenance to homes on things you can't see. Like you guys think about, okay, water tanks. And is a water tank, not a hot water tank, because the water goes in and it gets hot. Water tank. So
we say water heater.
Yeah. So they don't think, they think, okay, I have to clean that out, what, but do they know how to do it properly? Probably not.
No.
But underneath the house, you guys just don't think about that.
Yeah.
It's not, so if you're like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that, you're not the only one. It's a huge percentage.
Until they see the commercial on TV.
Yeah, right.
What's in your crawl space?
Exactly. But my experience as a realtor is when I'm selling a house, if they have a crawl space,
Yes.
there's usually issues of some sort in the crawl space.
Yeah, always. And the number one thing we see down there is what we say microbial growth. Because as a licensed home inspector in the state of Virginia, we cannot say mold,
Right.
we cannot say fungi, but we say microbial growth. Okay, hey, we see some there. It could be dormant, it could be malignant, we don't know. Let's get the moisture and termite inspection, which is usually required on every inspection. Those guys will, inspect and determine if it needs to be treated, sprayed, or
Right.
mitigated, or no, it's fine. It's not wood destroying type. You're good to go.
The guy I ran into on a deal last month
Yeah.
that actually killed the deal because this inspector was not QAI and the buyer had contracted this person to come and he misstated information about Drive It on this home and how he thought that it was improperly installed and there was an airflow problem, blah, blah, blah. The Class A contractor came in and said, no, none of that is true. But she left the deal. Now, if I hadn't had 2 or 3 backups on this deal, we'd still be trying to sell this
Right.
house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the inspector is crucial that they, A, are very good at finding stuff. And every house, I don't care if it's new or otherwise, is going to have something.
Right.
But when they go to explaining the issues, that they don't blow it out of proportion. If it's important, they should tell you that. If it's
Exactly.
dangerous, they should tell you that. But if it's just listen, they didn't maintain this,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it can be fixed, but here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's actually an art to you guys and how you handle regurgitating the report to the buyer.
Sure. And a lot of it is, we are not the subject, we're not electricians, we're not master plumbers, we're not master framers. So we're the subject matter, jack of all trades, so to speak. And when we identify, hey, this does not look right, and there's things that we know, we don't do code enforcement inspections because the code varies from city to city
Right.
and changes daily almost. And those subject matter experts deal with that. But we're like, hey, we think we have a problem here. Let's recommend an evaluation by that specialist in that field to come out and say, yeah, this is good to go, or no, it needs to be updated, or this is wrong, repair it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And then we were talking about the knob and tube. So
Yeah.
knob and tube was done a long time ago. If you guys can remember old movies or movies dated early 1900s.
Or if you were just here a long time ago,
Yeah.
like I was.
Or if you were here a long
You
time
lived
ago.
it. You actually had these glass fuses.
He probably helped install them. So they're the wire, and they do kind of look like a knob. So believe it or not, they still work today. They
Yes.
do. They still work today. They're actually good. They were a good thing back then. They really were, and they work really well. Here's the problem with it. And background for those of you who don't know that I worked for Geico for a long time. My husband retired from there, so insurance is my second forte. Insurance companies won't cover it. So if they know about it,
yeah.
now, Geico does have one insurance company that I know of for sure in this area that will cover it. We need to have Greg on here. That's who we need to have next
Yeah,
is Greg. That'd be great.
absolutely.
He has a lot of info. So Greg can get it covered from one insurance company, but it's almost 99% and it
Yeah,
can't be.
yeah.
And people actually splice into it or make the
Right.
repair on it
Right.
that is bad. That's what makes it bad. So they work great until you fix it, because it's just there really isn't a fix for it correctly anymore.
No.
Yeah.
It's really an upgrade today.
Yeah.
Especially if you do a new electrical panel from the old fuses, you're required to have a permit. That code enforcement officer is going to make you upgrade
Yep.
everything to today's standards or whenever that permit was pulled.
How does somebody rewire a house? I mean,
Well, that's the thing. That really gets expensive if you have to go upgrade all that wiring from the old house through the walls. They have to
Yeah.
open up those walls. And that's the problem. When we see knob and tube, we test it. If it's hot, if we can see the wires cut off, we're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's been mitigated,
It's
it's been
mitigated.
removed. But if we don't see the other end and we see it going through, it may be dead, but we cannot rule out that it's not still in play because it could be on a switch or a breaker.
Right.
It may be off at the time. So, we'll say, hey, have an electrician evaluate this. Go through your, and find out where it's going to and make sure it's not part of the system.
You've
anymore.
probably seen a lot of dangerous stuff
Oh yeah,
in your history
and
of
the
doing
biggest problem with knob and tube is when it's buried in insulation.
Yes.
Because
That's true.
That's when it becomes more of a fire hazard.
That's right.
And it already is. So.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
What's the most dangerous thing you've ever seen inspecting a home?
Probably feral cats in the cross. No.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen a few snakes down there, but it was wintertime, and you know I know a little bit about reptiles, so it was cold. It was not going to move. It was a black snake, so I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
There was, I can't remember the gentleman's name that worked
No.
at QAI. It was in the beginning. And I was selling this house for this person. Actually, I was the buyer's agent. And it was out near the Dismal Swamp. Actually, in the Dismal Swamp, there was a backyard, then the Dismal Swamp. There was no fence or anything. You're there. And this guy went under the house, and he 1910 house.
You would think I'm telling this story about West Virginia, but I'm not.
and the crawl
It's Jimmy
space,
Ray in the city.
in the crawl space. He calls in, and I said, "What'd you find?" I said, "I found a snake skin that was about 8 feet long."
Yeah.
And I went, "You guys you aren't scared of much
No.
in order to do this
No.
job."
I did
That's
one
the
in-
main reason I did not go into that is because I am terrified of snakes. I'm not scared of much, but I am terrified of snakes.
Yeah.
I did one in Suffolk right along the creek bank, and there were 7 skins in that one.
Oh
Okay.
my
All of
gosh.
3 to 4 foot. I'm like, I assumed there must have been a nest in there, but I didn't see anything live. But really, the most dangerous thing for us
Yeah.
is electrical wires that are open and bare, or asbestos that's
Oh,
friable.
yeah, that's a good
we won't
one for
enter crawl
sure.
spaces if we see that. I personally myself, being a apprentice electrician for a year before I joined the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
had a coiled up Romex cable in the crawl space. So I just kind of grabbed it to slide it out of the way, and the bitter end flipped up and it arced the gas pipeline and left a weld bead on the pipe.
Oh wow.
So after I sat there and collected my thoughts for a minute,
Lesson learned.
make sure I didn't go to the bathroom on myself.
Right. Oh
touch the wires, Paul,
my
you know. So,
gosh.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And you talk about feral cats. So there was a home and the AC, it was a new AC, but it just wasn't pumping in the air that it needed to. And you could feel like it just was. I was like, is the ductwork bad?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So I, for the life of me, could not figure it out. Called an AC company. They came and they went under the house. This crawl space came out and said, there's something in there with a very large shell. Anyway, whatever that is, they said, has knocked down the ductwork underneath there. So it wasn't flowing.
I've had that happen.
So feral cats, raccoons, mice, anything underneath in that crawl space can knock that ductwork down and it won't flow properly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you need to have that check. So I know that a lot of you have done the inspection, so we're talking about more of the maintenance and everything.
Yeah.
Even if everything is working out and you've went underneath there or whatever the case may be, I highly recommend just getting somebody, a professional, to go underneath there, check your ductwork, check everything out. It doesn't cost that much money. They can crawl it. Because here's the thing. That house was getting $600-700 a month electric bill.
Right.
They fixed that because it was just constantly moving, right?
Well, he's cooling this crawl space.
Yes. So after that, it went down to between $200 and $300.
Wow.
So the money they would have saved by someone just looking
What
at
else
that.
is doing to that house at that time? All that cool air in the summertime going in there is creating more condensation.
Oh, yeah.
High moisture.
Yep. Oh,
Moisture
yeah.
is going to rot your wood.
Oh,
right.
yeah, the
Long-term,
subflooring.
big time costs.
And it was an EFIS house.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What else could go wrong?
Right? We can sit here and probably share stories
Oh,
like
yeah,
this
yeah.
all
Well, you know, the
day.
thing is with Drive It or EFIS or whatever, you know, if it's not installed properly, I was married to an architect the first time around, kids. Then you know, water gets through the windowsills.
What he learned was.
I'm just opening book right now. I'm an open book.
Told you we were going to have a story.
But so she said, well, we're never buying a house that's an EFIS in this market because they don't know how to build them. Now in Arizona, when they don't get rain all the time or whatever,
Very dry conditions, yeah.
And so, yeah. So do you ever spot any, how can you spot the wood damage behind the EFIS?
You can't. It's not. So when we come to an EFIS house, we require an EFIS, or we recommend an EFIS inspection because we are not able to see any visible damage. Sometimes we can see signs where there's cracks in the EFIS around a windowsill and we can suspect it. but we always recommend an EIFS inspector, and there's only a handful in Virginia Beach.
There really is. There's
Campgrounds.
only a few. And you should have that re-inspected every few years too,
Yes,
because
yeah.
you just don't know. I also highly recommend, there's this wonderful tool that's a little moisture detector that you can get on Amazon for like $30-$40. In between those inspections, you can actually put them on your windowsill. It's not 100%, but it will tell you. It's very, very good. I have a lot of builders who actually carry them in their vehicles. But you can tap it up against there. I'll actually put the link below. But it's really nice for you to utilize that in between your inspections. Being with the humidity that we have here at the oceanfront, that's when a lot of the EIFS homes actually are. I don't understand why they ever built EIFS homes, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
It's coming from somebody. By the way, I own an EIFS home.
On the water.
So, but if you maintain and do it, I mean, sooner or later, you're probably going to have to end up. I mean, a lot of people in my area brick it, but it's hard. I don't know why they do that.
Yeah.
At the ocean.
So some tips you might give people that are thinking about buying or selling a house before they hire an inspector. What should people do?
So they, have their HVAC system serviced. Clean out their filters, have their filters up and running. Maybe take care of all the cosmetics. A lot of people get, buyers, especially new buyers, coming, especially the young kids in the military, they get hung up over the nail pops and the cracks, the typical settlement cracks in the corners of the wall.
Yeah.
Moisture stains that you had the leak taken care of years ago from a bathtub or a loose
Right.
but you left the moisture stain there. People will get really concerned about moisture stains, and they're really 99% of the time they're not a big deal.
And your moisture meter is so sensitive. Somebody
yeah.
can spit in your neighbor's backyard and you know it.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
they put it on the wall and
Yeah.
it is very sensitive.
Yeah.
So he can tell you if it is a standing thing going on currently or if it's been done.
And we can also back that up with thermal imagery. It's
yes,
not-
I was going to say
it's
they
not
do
telling
have
us-
the thermal,
It's
which
not
is
telling
nice.
us moisture, it's telling us a temperature
Yes.
differential. And that cooler temp is usually indicative of evaporation
Yep.
because there's a presence of moisture there. So,
It's nice.
but just regular maintenance, get your gutters clean, fix any leaks. Check your sink. Most people don't look under their sink and they got a small drip,
Yeah.
but it's falling on all their, accoutrements down there.
Yeah.
They never notice
So
it.
basically, if it's something you can mitigate
Yep.
before the inspection, that's what you want to do. That's what I tell my clients all the time because we don't want it on the report. So if
No.
you can do it and clean it up, make it look nice, that's going to avoid it ever being on the report and being maybe an issue at a peak road.
And I've had a lot of sellers in the past that I have actually talked to and said, hey, do you want to do a home inspection? Like, you can pay for a home inspection for your home.
Sure.
You don't have to be a buyer. It's just it belongs to the buyer, right? So you can pay for that. You can actually have an appraisal done on your home before it's time. So it's, for me personally, if I'm selling a home myself, one of my homes, I do like to have a home inspection and appraisal done before I ever put it on the market. It's money that I feel is very much well worth. And I can also, if I want to, share that with people to give them an ease and say, hey, these are the things that we did to make sure that it was completely done. It makes people feel good. But that's just a suggestion, not something you have to do, but it is something good to do if you have it.
Probably less, maybe 10% of our inspections are pre-listing inspections.
Nice.
And they also avoid big surprises that you may not be aware of.
Right.
How many times we go in the crawl and your cast iron drain line has a complete crack at the top
Yep.
of it. It's still viable, it's still draining the sewage coming out of your bathrooms and stuff, but you got sewer gas that's coming up now
Yep.
and creating more problems in that. That's going to be.
And you're
thousands
breathing
of-
that stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
So.
Gross. And speaking of pre-listing, so if you do find something major, you can take the time to possibly fix it before you put it on the market that you may have needed another month or so to save the money up or what the case may be, so that you can actually put a pristine home on the market and have it sold a lot faster than you would putting it there, not knowing it, having the home inspection. Then that comes up. Then you got to figure out how to fix it while you have a buyer in waiting who doesn't want to wait and wants to get another home very quickly.
Right.
Could lose a deal.
I mean, I when I buy a house these days, I don't want a project. I mean, some people
Turnkey.
Some people do,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think most people are like, this house looks really nice. I don't want it to be a project.
Right.
I'll take it. But if it's not, if it's got a lot of issues, I'm going to say, I'll just keep looking. And then I'll call my buddy on the next house as well. So what we should do is probably, if we can, Thomasina's the wizard on this stuff. Putting QAI and
Yes.
the number on the crawl.
Yeah.
And then that way, if you're in this area, southeastern Virginia, you need a home inspection, QAI. Paul Muir is his name. They've got every agent they have, every person on the staff there is so well qualified.
But we like him the best.
He's still got good hair.
What I have left.
What's a
Yeah,
good
right.
number so that we can actually put it on here as well for them to hear it for those that are watching live?
689-7396.
Okay,
you
with
go.
757 in front of it.
Yep, exactly.
One more time.
689-7396.
There you
Okay.
go. QAI. Paul Muir. So we'll end there, and I think there's a lot of good information, Paul.
Yeah, we could talk.
We're gonna
for
have to.
days.
We're gonna have to have you back
Check it
because there's so much information that he has. We're gonna have to have him
Yeah.
next month again.
Yeah.
He might be a
Great.
reoccurring person
Great,
because there's
great.
just so much information he can give us that goes into so many different things: the appraisal, the
yeah.
insurance. I mean, the walkthrough. I mean, there's so much. There's so much because even when you were sitting there talking, I was like, man, there's some other
Writing
things.
pictures.
Yeah.
Writing pictures is a big one.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And, this is a big Thomasina thing. You've really got to spell it out on those
You
people.
do. And watch what you say.
Yes.
Because fix is not a good word to use. And this is funny. Some say picra, some say picra. Some say pica, some say pica.
Right.
I actually go back and forth. So I say pica and then I say picra. So I combine the two. But
it's
fix
America.
is not something you should ever put on one of those. Fix. No. Don't use the word fix.
I always use repair or replace. And that's where I go. But anyway, so maybe that's another show too. The whole
I mean, there's so much.
thing.
You guys want to know about so much, and it just keeps bringing.
Yeah,
it
and
up.
if you just drop a comment as to what you're interested in finding out
Yeah.
more about here on Unanswered, that's what we're all about.
It is.
Really. So
All
Paul Muir, QAI, thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
sir.
Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost.
All right, we're going to close it out. Stay tuned for next time when we have more information and more things that you guys want to know about here on Unanswered.